it on here, so we'll just wait like about a minute. But if you're already seeing this now, we are putting in the drawer box that we made for the step. So it's a dual purpose. We have a 500-pound drawer, two 500-pound drawer slides, and these are designed to lock into place. There's a box that has a traction surface on it, and this is going to allow you to get into the back of the van, into the bed, without having to have a additional stool available. So you can use the box. The box is a box, so we can store stuff in it. What I've done off camera, it's setting up right now, but I've epoxied the lid onto the top piece. So it's kind of like a puzzle piece that goes on top. And once that piece goes on top, it kind of closes it up and makes it an actual box. So there's no hinges or anything like that on top. What we're going to do right now is we've got the hardware inside the box, and we're actually going to bolt it in place for the first time. It might be permanent because if it goes in well, then we'll be moving on to the next task. So multitasking here, like I said, the epoxy is setting up for this lid. You guys will see that in just a second. This has already been painted, and I got a little bit of my towel fuzz on the bottom here, so let me wipe that off before I install it. Okay, so that's all good. All right, what I've done is I've just dumped all the hardware in here, so it's just easy for me to get to. This is the front of the box. So once I get the box installed, this plate is actually, this is epoxy to the front of the cabinet. The screws are just as a backup. You always want to have a backup of adhesion or like bolting in a van, because even though we're using birch for this, and we've clear coated it on the inside, we've painted it, we've sealed it, and we've epoxied this front, you really always need to take an extra step because the humidity levels change in the van. It's in all kinds of different environments, so to make sure you have the best chance at not having something not warp too bad, you need to do that. So that's why these screws are here. Technically, I could have just epoxied this in the front, kept it clean, but in my experience, these ends tend to want to give way over time. And if you're doing a high-end build, you definitely want that to be taken care of. What I do also is I will come back in here and do a little touch-up paint before getting this van on the road. These guys. All right, so here comes the fun part, trying to get this hardware in here. And yeah, so the reason I touch up the sides, it's pretty obvious. It's going to rub against these rails as I'm installing it, and it's probably going to look fine, but just a little bit of a touch up, no problem. All right, so what I'm going to try to do here is when I bolt this through the rail and into the side of the box, my question is, how many washers can I put into the rail and have the rail still function as it's supposed to? Sometimes the problem you find with hardware is you'll buy some hardware and you'll get a piece of hardware that you just need just ever so slightly a shorter bolt or nut or screw or whatever, and sometimes they don't make it. So for this, this comes in 1 inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half. But if you need like an inch and an eighth, for example, it might be hard to find something like that. Okay, so we got the two middle ones in first. I can't really see my phone, so if you guys are asking questions, just give me a minute and I'll hop back around. All right, so we got the two middle ones. We're using stainless steel hardware. Always want to use stainless steel in a van. And I'm just putting a washer on here, and then this nut is pretty low profile head. It's about half of what you would expect. Believe it or not, I got these from Lowe's, and I think they're going to work out. Alright, let's see if we can get this front one in. Now this is a very tedious process. Pretty much anything custom is. So when you're putting this together, if this doesn't fit, it's possible I might need to take this out and open up the holes here to get my alignment back in order. So we just got to worry about that. All right. On the back rails, you have to slide it in and out because there's an opening on the rail that's going to have a little window, and that's going to allow you to put the bolt in. There's different locations you can do that. So again, the hardest part of this is the alignment of everything, because you got metal, wood, a lot of those components, you know, they don't want to be perfect. Okay, it looks like that's okay. Now, it's better to have a tighter fit hole on something like this. You really don't want anything loose, because I don't want the box tilting down and then making any rubbing on the van, like this aluminum cabinet. So what I would do is, if there's one, like this screw right here is tight, I'm going to force it in, almost like a screw, not a bolt. And as long as I have good alignment, I don't really care that I'm kind of forcing this thing to go into place. I'm very accurate when I build stuff anyway, so I know if something's off, it's because you know, the wood has tweaked a little bit. If you guys have watched my Craig screw, what am I trying to say? My Craig screw fabrication of the kitchen galley I made for John and Susan, that's kind of how I construct my cabinets. I didn't do Craig screws on this just because I wanted this to be clean inside. So what I did is, a lot of people will underestimate the power of wood glue. A good wood glue bond is, you know, almost stronger than any screw if you do it right. So if you apply it right, let it dry, and have it clamped overnight, you'll rip and splinter this joint. It'll be harder than a screw. And so all these joints are wood glued, and then we have pin nails in all the joint sides. And the main stress on this box is not the bottom, it's not the sides, it's this panel here and then this panel here. So these two and the lid on top, we're going to be confident that it's going to hold everything up. Plus we got these rails here that are going to support it too. Baltic birch would be an excellent thing to use for this. So let's see, this birch has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ply. This is 7 ply. we're just going to move this around. Try not to pinch your finger. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. I'll get to them in just a second. Okay, so we're looking good. My goal was to measure this to where I could use these acorn nuts so they're smooth on one side. And I think we're going to actually be perfect on, yeah, this is going to be perfect. Now, if somebody were to open this box, it will look overkill on these bolts and everything, but yeah, act like you're making it to carry 500 pounds, okay? So you. Yeah, again, the most tedious part is just making sure that all the stuff is in alignment. So we're using a washer on the outside of the bolt to kind of bring the bolt in. The only downside about using acorn nuts is there's only so much depth you can go in, and you don't want to tighten it up to where it's hitting this back of the nut and you're thinking it's tight. You need to give yourself adequate room. So our backup Nylock nuts, we're not using them because everything looks like it's doing well. Alright, so I'm just going to hand tighten before I actually completely tighten it down. Okay, so here's our box. So it looks good to me. Okay, let's do it. We're not going to put any weight on it until we'll put weight on it when we fully tighten it down, and then we have the lid on. But the epoxy is dry right now, so it should be done. It only needs 15 minutes to set up, but it's always been set for an hour, so it should be fine to show you guys on this video. Okay, so feel something hitting just a little bit. It's probably the bolt. Let's see here. Yeah, that was just barely. Okay, so I have to make a mental note of that the bolt orientation okay, so finding out that this outside bolt, the back bolts, this one and the middle one are fine. The front bolts, however, there is going to take these front bolts out because it looks like we're going to have to get a 1-inch, even more low profile bolt. Actually, we're going to take the washer off. Maybe that's the issue. I did test this before I put this whole assembly together, so I'm trying to figure out why it's not working. I didn't use the washer. The washer is something I added. Okay. Today we're doing 3 things at once. We are bolting the water frame into the van. We are gluing the final plumbing in, and then we're putting this box in, and we're drilling and tapping these 2 holes, and then this whole area will be complete. Alright, let's see. Taking that washer off. It looks like we're going to have to go with a button head for these front screws. I'm going to leave those screws in there. I'm going to tighten up the back here. That way I get good alignment, and then that way when I come back with these new bolts, everything will be in alignment. Now let's take these front bolts out, and we should be able to close and lock this. So what's happening is there's a little rail finger that's, when it closes, it's catching the bottom of this head. So we'll just have to, it's custom. Figure out what is problem solving. Okay, so now it should work, should close. So that feels good. now I think the back bolts. The back bolts are catching. We're still going to use a 1/4-20. We just need to tweak the heads of these bolts. What I'm also doing is I'm removing the washer. So again, when I designed it, I didn't have the washer, but I'd like to offset it as much as possible. Okay, let's try that. So now we're just troubleshooting where this thing is getting hung up. Okay, here's something a little weird. I barely put that screw in there so I can maintain alignment. Let's see. The back bolts are taken out now. Okay, so that's it. So the back bolts are the issue. good. Okay, box is perfect. We have our 1/8 inch gap over here, but we've lost it over here on the right side. So we're going to have to address that. It looks like these front bolts are okay, doing what they're doing. So we're going to go ahead and tighten them down. I'm going to get our lid and put it on here, and then we're going to double check our clearance up here. If there's enough clearance, I'm going to raise the box up. So let's go get our lid. So this is a lid for our box. It's got dust and everything on it. These are all going to be painted black. And then we're going to clear coat this bottom wood part. There's a big end and a tight end. Tight end goes to this back side. Big one is this bigger side. And so this just comes in here, fits just like that, and you can just take it off. It's a very tight fit, almost kind of like a, it fits so well. It's almost like a Apple box unboxing. It's got that nice like kind of vacuum pull to it. So I don't think I'm going to use actually felt for this. I think it'll be fine. But we're going to go through here, and yeah, it definitely looks like we've got plenty of room to make that modification. Okay. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make a new hole. I'm going to come back one hole and come up 1/8 of an inch. And so what that's going to do is move this top part of the box, because the back is doing good. Let's see here, when I catch it on. All right, I'm gonna take a second and see what questions you guys have. All right, no questions. Alright guys, we're going to modify that backside, and then we're going to get some new bolts for the front, or for the back, and we'll be able to move on to the next part. But yeah, that is the drawer here with a lid. So storage, and also to allow you to get in the bed as well. And enough room to unlock, move this step back in. All right, guys, that's it for the video today for the live stream. Might do another one if we move to the plumbing side when that's all finished up this afternoon. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any time that I'm going live. I go live randomly throughout the week. Don't forget to check out the DIY van build cheat sheet. You can click on the link in the description below, and also check out our new DIY van build course, the Van Build Blueprint, which is on vanbuilderhq.com.